you're fighting the oligarchy, you should be flying Spirit. And that's it.
It was innovation that got Elon Musk and sheer brilliance. All of that wealth.
Billionaires are bad. Elon Musk is bad. Big money is bad.
We've got a Fox News panel to hop into as they're trying to take down AOC and Bernie for the wave that they're creating for progressives as Trump destroys MAGA's electability every step of the way. So if you can, take a second, leave us a like. We really appreciate it. And we'll hop right into this with our fact checks ready.
If you're fighting the oligarchy, you should be flying Spirit. And that's it. And Spirit might even be too nice if you're really dedicated to your
You should be taking
messaging.
a covered wagon if you're a real commie.
Really, zero emissions, the covered wagon.
Right.
Pulled by horses, the methane's still an issue. Maybe walking is better. Listen, these two want to be rock stars. This is their only way to go about it. I truly and firmly do believe that they love just amassing a crowd for their own self-indulgence, for their own narcissism. They love that they can get people to follow them. And when you listen to them speak, it's just a one-note type of speech. It's billionaires are bad, Elon Musk is bad, big money is bad. We're going to fly in on our private jets and talk to all of you little people about how money is bad.
Yeah.
Instead, a more inspirational message, I think, is the American dream is aspiring to grow wealth, aspiring to have, humble things, but to attain some level of success. And you can get there, too, through hard work in this greatest country on the face of the earth.
Something I found really funny about this was how Tommy Lauren, content creator, TV personality, is calling Bernie Sanders, lifelong public servant, someone who essentially just wants attention. The projection, the lack of self-awareness there, that's astounding off the rip. But then on to what she's actually saying, it's the same old really stupid conservative line for the left of trying to first force this standard that we're a poverty cult, something the left has never claimed, you have to be poor to be on the left. But then if you spend a lot of money on something, all of a sudden you can't be I don't know, right? We understand the issues income inequality cause, and being wealthy alone isn't the issue. The issue is hoarding that wealth, first off. But does Tommy even know what oligarchy means? It's a big word for her, so I don't know. But it's essentially when the few control the many. It's a small group of people controlling a lot of people, right? And in the case that Sanders and AOC are pushing for or talking about, it's the rich controlling the poor, which is objectively true for any capitalist system. It's even more objectively true in America than it's ever been with Trump's cabinet of 13 billionaires. And that doesn't mean that having money is inherently bad, but that how you got it and what you do with it matters and will determine that, right? And we'll get more in depth on that.
Tearing down America is an easy, cheap shot. But I think it's a losing message. I know they get some crowds and whatnot, but it is not representative of America. You have the right to succeed and fail in this country. And that's what our country is all about, the opportunity for success. And there's not this optimism that they throw out there.
Yeah.
They just like to tear it down. And it's disappointing because I think there's a generation of people that need to be inspired about this country. But I think the majority of those people have suddenly gone to Republicans. It's amazing how the transformation has happened.
Trump 6 months ago was calling America a failing country, a disgrace, a banana republic. MAGA and Trump are tearing down core American values like due process and free speech. And none of that is tearing down America as a cheap shot. But AOC and Bernie calling out the richest man in the world, shadow running the government, trying to cut your Social Security and Medicare is? Give me a break. I would love to know what AOC has ever said that tears down America, that everyone deserves health care. Ooh, how anti-American. Right? That's way worse than calling us a third world country or a failing country, like Donald Trump literally has multiple times.
Look, Bernie Sanders has 3 homes. Look, at the end of the day, they're trashing wealth and they're missing the point, which was innovation. It was innovation that got Elon Musk and sheer brilliance all of that wealth. They're ignoring Jeff Bezos. They're ignoring Soros. They're picking and choosing. And I really appreciated how you put it because they're continuing to say these talking points, these sound bites, without any type of iceberg underneath to explain why. Money is only bad when it funds the Republican Party, and they totally missed the point, which goes into our first block point, which is that it was a mandate by the American people. They're actually representing the will of the American people. I'm not quite sure.
Hunks News is still trying to push this failed idea that they have a mandate that's complete propaganda. Like we saw within 60 days, a Trump state vote in a blue judge, 2 massive plus 30 Trump districts get cut in half in 60 days. This isn't something we see in a span of 4 years normally. No, the American people voted for a change in hopes of better money for their pocketbooks. No polling shows they care about any of the issues Trump is focusing on, trans issues, DEI, anything like that, but that they care about the economy, which he's also wrecking, which is why we see polls going against him, his favorability, Doge favorability down. We've seen the shifts politically, but yeah, mandate, not that you just lied to everyone. Also, they're missing the point here. Again, as I said, wealth, not the problem. Hoarding wealth is the problem because it exacerbates the problems caused by income inequality. A great example of this is with Social Security. The right loves to talk about how Social Security is going to be defunded, which isn't true, but we are set to lose about 17%. You're going to, in about 10 years, if we do nothing, you will only get about 83% of the benefits that Social Security will pay out. However, the reason for that is because the majority of income in this country, the majority of wealth in this country is hoarded above the threshold in which is paid into Social Security. Someone who is making $5 million a year is paying the same that someone making $170,000 is. Or I think the threshold is like, it's just over 170,000. It's like 176, something like that. Don't quote me. I know it's something around there. Thus, that money, the majority of income in America, is never distributed back into the economy in a way that helps everyone, which, by the way, is what makes innovation as well so important. You're creating things that people are then buying that circulates that money. When money is put into the economy, it becomes multiplicative. It can become a multitude of money. You use the dollar, that person uses the dollar, he uses it, and it becomes $10 for use through 10 people, right? It's objectively a failure of economic policy to create both billionaires and people in poverty. It's an objective failure of economic policy to have a handful of people control more wealth than the middle class. These are objectively failures. I don't think you could tell me how it's not. And they lead to negative outcomes for everyone, not just the poor. It's all throughout society. Our roads are worse for this. Our healthcare is worse because of this. Even our military, if that's what you're on, could be more. You could have more money for the border if you're a conservative, right? But in education, student loans, things that actually matter, right? If we're focusing on the left. But these are things that could be addressed, but will never because of income inequality and wealth hoarding until that is addressed. And that is something that also should be addressed. And guess who two of the only politicians doing that right now are? Well, it's AOC and Bernie Sanders. And that's why Fox News is trying to do hit pieces on them.